Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. This is the American Doofus Show. Don't hate, don't prejudge, don't be mean, don't be a doofus. I'm your host, Barry Walsh. And yes, every once in a while, it's good to get your news from somebody that wears an AC/DC t shirt. Don't be a doofus. Don't look just one direction. If you do, you only see one thing. Now, I've been getting some information, and not like I was getting about the inauguration being disrupted. There was a bunch of information coming out that something was going to happen, and we passed that information along. It's not like that, but nonetheless, I've been getting a little bit of information that there is a threat of violence if the impeachment goes to trial, and if indeed former President Trump is impeached. Again, it's not like I was getting before, but then again, I'm not looking for it like I was before. And also, a lot of things have gone underground. So just keep an eye if you start to see security ratcheting back up in Washington, D.C., that there are threats of violence against the Senate and against specific Democrats and possibly even media. And we'll let it go at that for now, and we will keep an eye on things. So, a little something to think about. January 6th, the insurrection, if you will, the incursion into the into the national Capitol. Wow, the United States Capitol building, and a lie that is going around, and it's going to start perpetuating, if you haven't seen it already or heard it already, is that the breach of the Capitol took place 2 hours before Trump gave his speech, and anyone that was watching the live that day knows that's not the case. And the live is back up, by the way, on my channel. There was a copyright violation posted against me by a Japanese company, and they took that copyright violation down, so that that video is back up. The night video of inauguration has been taken down. Someone had a copyright violation against me, and we'll see if that is taken down as well, which I hope it will be. But nonetheless, you can see in the live and through numerous timelines that that another lie is being perpetuated. Articles of impeachment were delivered today from the House of Representatives to the Senate in a formal ceremony, and that signifies the beginning of the trial of Donald J. Trump, former president of the United States, for inciting violence against the country. And we'll see how that plays out. And again, there's a possible threat of even more violence. So we'll see if security starts to ratchet up. Now, the title of this video, as you know, has Grandmaster Jay in it. So what's Grandmaster Jay got to do with all of this? Well, first of all, why didn't Trump give a blanket pardon to everyone that was involved in the January 6th insurrection, if you will? Why didn't he just issue a blanket pardon? The answer to that is because it did not benefit him in any way, shape, or form. His main concern at that time was how he was looking to Republicans in the Republican Party. It was his view was political. Did he or does he have a political future? It was always and always will be just about him. He didn't care about any of those people that are now going to be spending potentially 10 years in jail. Most of them justified, I'm assuming. and especially those that were responsible for murdering a police officer when all summer long, all we heard was "Back the Blue." Um, just something to think about. So what's Grandmaster Jay got to do with all of that? Well, they're going to make examples out of the people that Donald Trump did not pardon. They were arrested on initial charges, and more charges are coming to them. And many of them are going to lose numerous years of their lives for a lie. And they're going to make examples of militias, and especially the Oath Keepers. And anyone that, when you charge someone with conspiracy, anyone they've talked to is a potential co-conspirator. They're going to target the militias. What's that got to do with Grandmaster Jay? Grandmaster Jay already has charges against him. Grandmaster Jay is the leader of one of four nationally recognized, or one of four militias recognized to be on a national level. The Oath Keepers being another one. I've talked to a couple of attorneys. Dave Lackford, who's a wonderful guest on the show at times, is not one of the attorneys I've talked to. I've talked to a couple of attorneys, and basically I called and I just said, here's the situation. They have no idea who Grandmaster Jay was. They just are former political connections. Let's just put it that way. And I said, here's this case. What do you think? And they didn't ask about race. They didn't ask about anything. They just said, what's going to happen is it'll all come down to, he's going to do 18 months and it'll be concurrent. 18 months for, he'll get 18 to 24 months federal, and he'll get 36 months state to be run concurrent, and he'll get out off of both in 18 months. A lot of you aren't going to want to hear that. I know I'm not making you happy, but I'm reporting, okay? And I'm also reporting because they're going to make an example of anybody that has threatened the government in any way, shape, or form. And I want to also report on an article about Grandmaster Jay that you may not be aware of, that was in the Cincinnati Enquirer, and it was done by Kevin Grayshaw, Grasha, in case I mispronounced it. The article starts out talking about the NFAC and about the NFAC being in Louisville. The reason I'm bringing this article up and reporting on it is that we've done that so many times. From the beginning, we report on what's true and what's not true about the NFAC. We've documented the NFAC and Grandmaster Jay from the beginning. Some things in this article I know are not necessarily true. Some things in this article I'm not sure of. It begins with a definition of the NFAC and that they were in Louisville. And its leader is 57-year-old John Fitzgerald Johnson, who calls himself Grandmaster Jay and says he has a career as a rapper, DJ, and producer. The online trail for Grandmaster Jay includes a handful of biographies that appear to be self-submitted, a Wikipedia page that was deleted, and numerous message board and social media posts accusing him of being a fraud. Now, one thing I want to say about this, they're making it look like the fact that his Wikipedia page was taken down is somehow disparaging to him, makes some sort of statement about him. Okay, let me just say that I'm in the Library of Congress for being a founding father of internet politics. I was the first federal candidate to have a blog where potential voters could actually interact with me. I had the first virtual campaign headquarters. I had the first door-to-door, virtual door-to-door. I did a lot of things that drew attention and drew votes. And I was competitive in 3 different races for Congress. I've got 2 novels out. I had a Wikipedia page and it was taken down. So do not allow that portion of it to somehow cloud the rest of this article. Johnson was charged in early December in connection with allegations. September 4th in Louisville, officials say pointed an AR-15 style rifle at officers who were on the rooftop of the building watching over a park where protesters had gathered. There are 2 cases pending against him, one in federal court in Louisville, the other in state court. The Inquirer reached out to Johnson through 2 email addresses associated with him. A woman who identified herself as Debbie James Esquire said she is a member of NFAC and declined to comment on Johnson's behalf. In a December 11th interview posted on YouTube, Johnson said he's fighting both cases, and it quotes Grandmaster Jay as saying, "You all know they're doing this to break me financially because they're going to drag it out." He said in the interview, "They're going to throw everything they have at me because we know this whole thing is bullshit," end quote. And they are going to throw everything they have at him in order to make a point, in my opinion. Johnson was living in a townhouse apartment in Westchester when he was arrested. 5 years ago, when he filed with the Federal Election Commission to run for president as an independent, he listed his address in Reading. Now, my dad is from Hamilton, Ohio. My mom is from Middletown, Ohio. So I'm quite familiar with where Westchester is in the region down there. And it's more of an upscale region. So don't let that judge or cloud your judgment on the rest of this article. Johnson's Westchester home was searched December 3rd, and agents seized 6 assault-style rifles, ammunition, rifle magazines, and body armor. Investigators were looking for the rifle Johnson allegedly used in Louisville. It does not say whether that rifle was found or not, and it does not say anything about any handguns that were potentially on the property. In an application for a search warrant, FBI agents said the NFAC eventually wants to form a new country owned and created by Black people. I guess that is somehow seen as not something to want. Personally, I understand why a lot of Black people would want to have their own country where they just would be left alone. You know, that's never going to be the case, even if you have your own country. Anyway, that's a totally another topic. It says the NFAC went to Louisville in July and September. It also organized armed marches in 2 towns in Georgia, Washington, D.C., and Lafayette, Louisiana, the documents say. Okay, well, first of all, I had the video of the Washington, D.C. appearance. It was not a march. To my recollection, I'll have to go back and look in the records, but I don't believe it was armed. I believe it was Grandmaster Jay, and if I remember right, 8, maybe 10, maybe 12 at the most NFAC members. And Grandmaster Jay gave a brief speech, 6-7 minutes long, through a bullhorn. So there was no march in Washington, D.C., and there sure was no armed march, to my recollection, in Washington, D.C. I don't believe there were marches in 2 towns in Georgia. I think there was an appearance over the Ahmaud Arbery situation, the Ahmaud Arbery murder, and there was a march at Stone Mountain. So as far as I know, there's only one march in Georgia, and then Lafayette, Louisiana. So if that's what the court documents indeed say, they're not necessarily factual, at least to my reporting thus far. Johnson describes the group's long-term goals in an interview with media during the September protests in Louisville. He talked about acquiring land from various African leaders and eventually being part of the United Nations. Well, if that's the case, then, and if it's not about buying land in America or acquiring land in America, then why would anyone be bothered if, I mean, other than, you know, I'm talking about anybody as far as any of these asshats that, anyway. We need our own home, our own culture. We need our own money. We need our own military. We need to be able to determine our own destiny. So when you kill one of us, you got to deal with our grief. Nothing new there that hasn't been talked about. Facts Over Feelings or Morning Mental, any of the available Grandmaster Jay videos. Johnson is not being detained as he awaits trial. According to a motion filed December 18th, Johnson has been producing two shows on Instagram, Facts Over Feelings and Morning Mental. And it's his livelihood depends in part on these productions, the motion says. It might. I don't remember seeing a lot of commercials before Grandmaster Jay's videos, and that's generally where any money comes from. I know, and I've been honest and talked about it on this before, but I made $497 from June to the end of the year, to December 31st, and I'll be happy to show you. You know, of course, he's got 10 times the viewers, so maybe he gets 10 times the money. But if that's the case, he only made $4,000 between June and December. So don't think Grandmaster Jay's scamming you and getting rich off of doing these shows, unless he gets paid a lot more. And that could be the case too, because in all honesty, not everyone wants to advertise on a show like this, because this is the only show really like this. So I don't get top advertisers, and that could all play into it. So he could be making a whole lot more money off of his show. And if he is, you know, more power to him. There's nothing wrong with that, and he should be allowed to do it. He's not being allowed to do it right now. That's the whole point of me bringing this all out. The FBI became aware of Johnson after an anonymous tip in May of 2020. There were videos on YouTube in which Johnson responded to the killing of George Floyd. According to the application for the search warrant, video posted June 5th, Johnson, quote, stated that the only way to stop police violence is to identify and locate their homes, the homes of police, burn the houses to the ground, kill the officers, their family members, and associates. Okay, these are the kind of statements that are going to necessitate that he does some amount of time, in not only my opinion, but in the couple of attorneys that I've talked to. And because Kentucky's not going to let that off. And the judge that is in charge of this case in the Western Federal District is a Trump appointee, and is not going to be looked at as soft on a black man pointing a weapon at law enforcement, which is how this is going to be painted. Now, this next part of this article, and again, I'm getting this all out because it's, number one, it's newsworthy, and I don't believe it's been reported on online other than in this article. And number two, so that people can judge the information for themselves. And this next part of the article is about military background. And the court documents outline Johnson's military history. He served in the Virginia National Guard before enlisting in the Army, where he served from 1990 until 1997, where he was honorably discharged. Okay. For those that say stolen valor, he never served, blah, blah, blah. He did indeed serve. Johnson re-enlisted in 1998. The document says, but went through a court-martial trial and was discharged under other than honorable conditions. Okay. Despite that, Johnson was able to re-enlist in December 2003 in an administrative role. Documents say the FBI is investigating whether Johnson committed fraud in order to re-enlist. According to the documents, by 2005, he was placed on AWOL, which is absent without leave, and classified as a deserter absentee. In 2006, he was again formally discharged under other than honorable conditions, the document says. Now, of course, Grandmaster Jay is not here to explain the circumstances of those events. However, nonetheless, a lot of people have had questions surrounding military service. So again, take the information as you will. Accuracy, we've already pointed out a couple of things that may not be all too accurate. So it's a sad situation that Grandmaster Jay can't talk about what this article is talking about. And you're not going to like this part either if you are a supporter of Grandmaster Jay. If you are a detractor of Grandmaster Jay, it's going to be a lot of, I told you so about all this. There was widespread online criticism of Grandmaster Jay after he appeared as, quote, the legendary Grandmaster Jay, end quote, in a 2013 online ad for DJ products. Many said they'd never heard of him. And the music performed in the ad was apparently taken from a famous performer, DJ Jazzy Jeff, who said in an Instagram post that the music was from one of his live performances. I don't care, this is a quote, I don't care if you are the worst DJ in the world, I'll give you credit. The post said, just don't fake it. That was the post from DJ Jazzy Jeff. A website for the original Grandmaster Jay includes a page with a photo of Johnson holding a rifle and wearing a sweatshirt that has the legendary Grandmaster Jay on the front. The website said he was a veteran of the hip hop game rather, since day one. I want to get the quote right. He was a veteran of the hip hop game since day one, end quote, and that he, quote, made a name for himself in the hip hop world as a rapper, DJ, and producer. Grandmaster Flash, an acclaimed DJ whose rap group is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, weighed in on Facebook in 2013, quote, who is Grandmaster Jay, question mark. He said he came up with me as a pioneer DJ. I don't recall you, sir, end quote. So that doesn't necessarily mean anything. You can come up as a DJ in a city or a region and someone else not know who you are. Okay, I'm not defending, I'm not supporting. I'm just saying that none of this really proves anything. All it does is raise questions. And the whole point of this is back to Grandmaster Jay heading to trial. And Grandmaster Jay's own words, they're going to throw everything at him. And the two attorneys, both of the attorneys I talked to said he'll be offered minimum sentence if he pleads guilty and he doesn't go to trial. If he goes to trial and everything comes out, there's potential for added time and possibly even added charges. So take that for what it's worth. It's something to think about. Again, we started out with threats of violence at the Capitol, the US Capitol, and keep an eye out for any potential signs that the federal government has those has the same chatter that I'm getting, even though it's on a much more limited basis than it has been in the past. And I'm thankful for that because, as I've said, I would have thought that a week ago for the inauguration, there would have been some kind of trouble. I even said the absolute best case situation is that it all stays online and nothing of significance happened. And that's how it played out. And I hope that's how the near future plays out as well. It's time for us to move forward. It's time for us to get over the lies, no matter where they come from or who they come from. It's time for us to stop wanting to believe things so much that we will believe the absolute absurd in order not to think that we might have been misled or been wrong. And a lot of people in this country are in that situation. Just something to think about if you're one of them. This is the American Doofus Show. I'm your host, Barry Welsh. Of course, don't be a doofus. It's not quite as dark as world as it was a couple of weeks back, but nonetheless, there's still a lot going on, and we need you to be a light. We need everyone to be a light, be the brightest light you possibly can moving forward, no matter what happens. Move forward. We keep moving on. I love you all. I thank you all. Please subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Please leave a comment, hit the like button. If you are a subscriber, hit notify if you haven't already. Hit subscribe, leave a comment, hit the like button. Cash App is American Doofus, the $ American Doofus, all one word. And Wednesday, we will have, Wednesday's going to be EAR, End All Racism Night, on the American Doofus channel. And in lieu of the American Doofus Show, that's what will be on Wednesday night. I'm guessing it'll be on between 10 and 10:30 is when it will actually air after we get it recorded. And we've got a good panel coming up, and we'll also be announcing here very soon, possibly even Wednesday, hint, hint, nod, nod, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. It's not a guarantee, but very soon we're going to be announcing how to become a member of EAR and help grow the movement. Love you all. Thank you all so very much for watching. It's greatly appreciated. If you want to get in touch, if you'd like to be part of the panel, email me, americandoofus@gmail.com, the best way to do so. Thank you all so very much. I love you. It's the American Doofus Show. I'm Barry Welsh. I'm your host. Do not be a doofus. Peace.